Hi, hello everyone. I'm Dr. Pushpak Chirmade, a consultant oncologist that is a cancer specialist practicing in Navi Mumbai and Thane. I'm a consultant at MGM Hospital Navi Mumbai Vashi, Jupiter Hospital at Thane, and own my set of cancer care clinics known as Oncology, Oncura Hematology, and Oncology Care. Now, the purpose for this Facebook live session is to discuss something which is very important, especially for the females. September is the September is the gynecological cancer awareness month. What exactly are gynecological cancers? So all the cancers related to female reproductive organs are termed as gynecological cancers. Breast cancer, amongst which is usually the cancer which is first and foremost among the women, but we will leave that topic a little aside for today's discussion and focus on these important cancers too. Now, if I tell you few names and you want to reason out how it is related to gynecological cancer, these famous personalities, one is Manisha Koirala, second is Sonali Bendre. Now, what does gynecological cancer has to do with all these famous personalities? So we know that Manisha Koirala was suffering from ovarian cancer. Now, a wonderful and a very beautiful blog I read about her, where she was giving a little tips for her patients, for the other patients of ovarian cancer, and she said that remember, your body will never be the same once it has gynecological cancer. It will change, but accept the change, know about it, and be gentle with your body. I think it was a very wonderful message that she passed on to her other patients who suffered from ovarian cancer. The recent most case of Sonali Bendre, again she is suffering from uterine cancer, but the spirit with which she is fighting it is commendable. Now, why is it that only few and some cases we come to know about among so many cases that we encounter? Because there is a little bit of social stigma that is associated with gynecological cancers. The women, especially those who are uneducated in the rural areas, don't open up with their symptoms. They don't go to the doctor. There is a feel of shame when they suffer from such complaints which are related to gynecological cancers. This should change. The social stigma should go away. The females should open up with their doctors, should open up with their relatives, should open up with their husbands and tell them that gynecological cancers and the problems that they are facing are something that are not to be tabooed about, but they should be tackled well, and if detected early, they are 100% and immensely curable. So September is the month that celebrates the freedom, and it's a time to open up about gynecological cancers. Now, me as Dr. Pushpak Chirmade here, consultant oncologist, I would like to make and bring certain awareness about various types of gynecological cancers. So, we'll begin our presentation. What exactly are gynecological cancers? Like I told you, all types of cancers that occurs in a female reproductive organs or genitals are known as gynecological cancers. So the five main and the most common types of gynecological cancers are the cancer of the womb, the cancer of the ovary, the cancer of the cervix, the vulva, and the vagina. Now, what exactly are these organs? So there may be listeners who are not so adept with English. So womb, जिसको हिंदी में हम लोग बोलते हैं बच्चेदानी या गर्भाशय, ओवरी जिसको हिंदी में हम लोग बोलते हैं अंडाशय, सर्विक्स यानी गर्भाशय या बच्चेदानी का मुंह जिसको हम लोग सर्विक्स बोलते हैं इंग्लिश में, vulva, these are the external genital organs of the females, and vagina is the passage through which the baby is delivered. So these five constitute the major burden of gynecological cancers. If we see in India, cervix cancer was the number one cancer till 2015-16. सर्विक्स कैंसर ये भारत में सबसे पहले नंबर पे आता था. अगर फीमेल कैंसर्स को हम लोग पकड़े तो सर्वाइकल कैंसर रैंक्ड 1. Now it has overtaken by breast cancer because some of lifestyle changes. Also, the cervical cancer is a lot related to safe sexual practices, and nowadays, because of various other factors like for HIV awareness, that has led to adoption of safe sexual practices, and cervical cancer incidence has gone down. So what exactly are the symptoms of these cancers, how to tackle them, how to detect them early? So we'll take them one by one. So the female reproductive organs, like we discussed, this is a schematic or a diagrammatic representation. Ovaries and the fallopian tubes. So ये है अंडाशय जिसको हम लोग ओवरी बोलते हैं, ये है फैलोपियन ट्यूब जो ओवरी को बच्चेदानी या गर्भाशय से जोड़ देती है, ये है गर्भाशय, ये है सर्विक्स, ये गर्भाशय का जो मुंह होता है इसको हम लोग सर्विक्स बोलते हैं, ये है वजाइना जिसको हम लोग योनि मार्ग बोलते हैं, और वुल्वा एंड वुल्वा इज द एक्सटर्नल यानी बाहर का जो फीमेल जेनाइटल ऑर्गन्स होते हैं उसको वल्वा बोलते हैं. सो ये शॉर्ट में एक डायग्राम है फीमेल रिप्रोडक्टिव सिस्टम का. इसमें ओवरी और फैलोपियन ट्यूब के कैंसर्स यूजुअली सिमिलर टाइप के होते हैं और इनको सिमिलर टाइप से हम लोग ट्रीट करते हैं. यूट्रस का कैंसर एक अलग टाइप का कैंसर माना जाता है और इसकी ट्रीटमेंट में थोड़े बहुत बदल आते हैं. सर्विक्स का कैंसर जिसको हमने देखा कि भारत में ये सबसे कॉमन है, तो इसमें हम लोग रेडिएशन और ये हम लोग देखेंगे आगे के स्लाइड्स में कि इसका ट्रीटमेंट कैसे होता है. सो मूविंग ऑन, outline for understanding what points we will discuss in today's session for each and every disease is: what is the disease, what are the symptoms of the disease, what are the risk factors, what tests are used to detect the disease, what are the stages of the disease, are there any screening methods for the disease. इसका मतलब क्या होता है कि स्क्रीनिंग मेथड, ऐसी कोई टेस्ट होती है क्या कि जिसको नॉर्मल आदमी या नॉर्मल महिलाएं कर सकती है और उसमें फिर हमें पता चल सकता है कि ये बीमारी हमारे अंदर शुरू हो गई है. जैसे ब्रेस्ट कैंसर में हमें पता है कि अगर 40 की उम्र के बाद हम हर साल मैमोग्राफी करते हैं तो ब्रेस्ट कैंसर जल्दी पकड़ में आ सकता है. लगभग 2 साल पहले हम लोग ब्रेस्ट कैंसर को पकड़ सकते हैं. तो क्या ऐसे कोई टेस्ट गायनेकोलॉजिकल कैंसर्स के लिए अवेलेबल है और इनका इंटरनेशनल गाइडलाइंस में या नेशनल गाइडलाइंस में क्या रिकमेंडेशन है, इसे के ये भी हम लोग जानेंगे. व्हाट आर द ट्रीटमेंट ऑप्शंस अवेलेबल, जैसे किसी का अगर डायग्नोसिस हो जाता है गायनेकोलॉजिकल कैंसर का तो उसको क्या क्या ट्रीटमेंट ऑप्शंस अवेलेबल होते हैं. एंड जैसे हमेशा कहा जाता है प्रिवेंशन इज बेटर देन क्योर, वेज टू प्रिवेंट डेवलपमेंट ऑफ डिसीज आर ऑलवेज बेटर देन टू टैकल द डिसीज. तो प्रिवेंट कैसे करें गायनेकोलॉजिकल कैंसर्स को. सो पहले हम लोग स्टार्ट करते हैं ओवेरियन कैंसर से. ओवेरियन कैंसर ये क्या होता है? ओवेरियन कैंसर इज अ कैंसर दैट हैपेंस व्हेन नॉर्मल सेल्स इन द ओवरी चेंज इनटू अबनॉर्मल सेल्स एंड ग्रो आउट ऑफ कंट्रोल. नॉर्मल ओवेरियन का फंक्शन क्या होता है? आपके जब पीरियड आते हैं तो पीरियड के 14 दिन के बाद ओवरी अपने में से एक एग को बाहर फेंकता है. ये फैलोपियन ट्यूब से यूट्रस की तरफ जाता है जिसका मिलन शुक्राणु या स्पर्म से होता है और फिर अपना जो फर्स्ट सेल होता है बेबी का वो बॉर्न होता है. तो ओवरी ये हमेशा दर महीने ये फुल्ली फंक्शनल होता है एंड दिस गोज ऑन कंटिन्यूअसली. दिस इज अ नॉन स्टॉप प्रोसेस. सो व्हाट हैपेंस व्हेन दीज नॉर्मल सेल्स स्टार्ट मैल फंक्शनिंग, इसका अगर नॉर्मल सी से काम हट जाता है देन these abnormal cells can form which can develop and grow out of control and this is known as ovarian cancer. ओवेरियन कैंसर के काफी सारे थियोरीज है कि ये क्यों हो सकता है. द मोस्ट एक्सेप्टेड या सबसे प्रभावशाली जो थियोरी है उसे कहते हैं फैलोपियन ट्यूब से ओवरी के ऊपर कुछ सेल्स का प्रसार होना और उसका फिर एबनॉर्मल सेल्स में डेवलपमेंट होना. सो ओवरी और फैलोपियन ट्यूब ये काफी क्लोजली रिलेटेड ऑर्गन्स है और इनका बीमारी ये काफी सिमिलर टाइप से हम लोग ट्रीट करते हैं. सो ओवेरियन कैंसर इज द मोस्ट कॉमन कैंसर इन विमेन, यूजुअली ऑकर्स व्हेन द विमेन आर ओल्डर, यानी 50 to 65 के एज में ओवेरियन कैंसर का होना चालू हो जाता है. बट अभी के एज में, अभी के जो लाइफस्टाइल में हम हमारे ओपीडी में, मैं मेरे ओपीडी में काफी यंग पेशेंट्स को भी देख रहा हूं जिनको ओवेरियन कैंसर है. सो ऐसा इसका कारण क्यों है हम आगे देखेंगे. समटाइम्स ओवेरियन कैंसर कैन रन इन फैमिलीज ऑल्सो. सो कुछ केसेस में ओवेरियन कैंसर ये फैमिलीज में रन कर सकता है, जैसे आपके दादी माँ को है, आपके मम्मी को है, आपको है, आपके सिस्टर को है. सो दिस इज अ वेरी वरीसम थिंग एंड यू नीड टू आइडेंटिफाई व्हाई एग्जैक्टली दिस इज हैपनिंग. So this is known as a genetic predisposition towards development of ovarian cancer. So let's understand a little bit more in detail about ovarian cancer. So पहले तो ओवेरियन कैंसर अगर आप में शुरू हो गया है, इसका जो मैकेनिज्म है, सो हाउ डू यू आइडेंटिफाई, कि आपको कैसे पता चलेगा कि आपके अंदर ओवेरियन कैंसर के तकलीफ शुरू हो गई है. तो इसको जानना बहुत डिफिकल्ट है, बिकॉज द सिम्टम्स ऑफ ओवेरियन कैंसर आर वेरी कॉमन. सो मेन सिम्टम्स क्या होते हैं ओवेरियन कैंसर के? योर स्टमक फील्स बिगर, इट फील्स ब्लोटेड, जिसका जैसे बोलते हैं हम लोग गैस भर जाना पेट में, पेट का फूलना. उसके वजह और क्या होता है? देयर मे बी स्टमक पेन, देयर मे बी एब्डोमिनल फुलनेस, एब्डोमिनल पेन. फिर अगर आप थोड़ा भी खाते हो, आप एक चपाती भी खाते हो, आपको पेट भर गया ऐसे लगता है. दिस इज नोन एज अर्ली सटाइटी. ठीक है, जिसका आपको भूख कम हो जाती है. आप थोड़ा बहुत खाते हो और आपको लगता है कि अरे अभी बॉस हो गया, इससे ज्यादा मैं नहीं खा पाऊंगी. सो दिस इज फीलिंग फुल. फिर अगर एब्डोमिनल प्रेशर बढ़ जाता है तो आपको यूरिनेशन की फ्रीक्वेंसी भी बढ़ सकती है. सो आई रिपीट अगेन, व्हाट आर द कॉमन सिम्टम्स ऑफ ओवेरियन कैंसर? 1, it is stomach getting bigger and feeling bloated. 2nd, it is abdominal pain. 3rd, it's feeling fullness or trouble eating. Need to urinate often or feeling like you suddenly need to urinate, that is urgency of urination. अदर सिम्टम्स क्या हो सकते हैं कि आपको लॉस ऑफ एपेटाइट है, इनडाइजेशन हो रहा है, घड़ी घड़ी एसिडिटी हो रही है, चेंजेस इन बॉवेल एंड ब्लैडर हैबिट्स हो रहे हैं, यानी जो कॉन्स्टिपेशन हो रहा है, रिपीटेडली कॉन्स्टिपेशन हो रहा है, बैक पेन हो रहा है, अनएक्सप्लेन्ड वेट लॉस है, अनएक्सप्लेन्ड फटीग है, थकान महसूस हो रही है. सो ऑल दीज फैक्टर्स आर द सिम्टम्स ऑफ ओवेरियन कैंसर. एंड इफ यू आस्क मी, almost 50% of the women may have some or the other features here. That is why diagnosis of ovarian cancer or catching it early is very difficult, and we have to be very vigilant to catch ovarian cancer. So ovarian cancer के symptoms के बाद अगर हम लोग देखें कि कौन से फीमेल्स में ओवेरियन कैंसर होने की संभावना ज्यादा होती है, विच फीमेल्स आर एट अ हायर प्रीडिस्पोजिशन टू डेवलप ओवेरियन कैंसर. सो सर्टन फैक्टर्स इंक्रीज द पर्सन्स रिस्क ऑफ डेवलपिंग ओवेरियन कैंसर, इंक्लूडिंग नेवर हैविंग बीन प्रेग्नेंट. अगर आप कभी भी प्रेग्नेंट नहीं है तो ओवेरियन कैंसर होने की संभावना ज्यादा है. नाउ ऐसा क्यों है? ऐसा है क्योंकि प्रेगनेंसी में आपके ओवरी को रेस्ट मिलती है. 9 months जब बेबी आपके स्टमक में रहता है तब आपका ओवरी का फंक्शन शुरू नहीं होता. कौन सा फंक्शन शुरू नहीं होता? एग्स प्रोड्यूस करने का. इसके वजह से ओवरी में गेट अ लिटिल रेस्ट, एंड दिस इज अ पोस्टुलेटेड थियरी. इसका कोई प्रूफ नहीं है, बट दिस इज अ पोस्टुलेटेड थियरी दैट व्हेन अ फीमेल इज नॉट प्रेग्नेंट, द ओवरी इज कंटिन्यूअसली एक्टिंग, and this may lead to certain damages in the DNA repair mechanisms, and which may lead to further development of ovarian cancer. So number of times जितना आप ज़्यादा pregnant हो सकते हैं, so that decreases your chance of development of ovarian cancer. ये थोड़ा सा समझने में मुश्किल हो सकता है, but it is more or less very theoretical but very important. So pregnancy is an important factor related to ovarian cancer. सेकेंड इज अर्ली एज ऑफ मेनार्की एंड लेट एज ऑफ मेनोपॉज. जैसे आपके पीरियड शुरू होने की जो उम्र थी और पीरियड्स खत्म होने की जो उम्र थी, अगर इसका ड्यूरेशन काफी बड़ा है, देन यू आर मोर प्रीडिस्पोज टू डेवलपमेंट ऑफ ओवेरियन कैंसर. सो यूजुअली अर्ली एज ऑफ मेनोपॉज हम लोग क्या बोलते हैं? इट इज लेस देन 12 years ऑफ एज. सो अगर आपके पीरियड्स 12 साल से कम उम्र में शुरू हुए हैं, एंड इन द लेट एज ऑफ मेनोपॉज इज व्हेन इट इज मोर देन 50. सो अगर 50 के बाद आपके पीरियड्स बंद हुए हैं, सो अगेन ओवरी को ज्यादा काम करना पड़ रहा है, एंड दिस में लीड टू इनहिबिशन और चेंजेस इन द डीएनए रिपेयर मैकेनिज्म्स व्हिच में लीड टू ओवेरियन कैंसर. फिर थर्ड मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट, जेनेटिक हिस्ट्री। जैसे हमने बात की कि कुछ कुछ केसेस में ओवेरियन कैंसर ये फैमिली में रन कर सकता है। सो ये फैमिली में क्यों रन करता है? बिकॉज देयर माइट बी अ स्पेसिफिक जेनेटिक abnormality called BRCA1 or BRCA2, and these are specific DNA mutations which are passed on from heredity to heredity, that is passed on from generation to generation. Now, once a female has BRCA1 or BRCA2, then the female has a very high chance, that is the patient herself, to develop breast cancer, and it may also be passed on from families. So, अगर आपको पता है कि आपके फैमिली में कोई एक पेशेंट था who was diagnosed as ovarian cancer and she was a BRCA gene positive patient, then you need to get yourself examined if you are a carrier for the BRCA gene. Now, if you are a carrier for the BRCA gene, then there are certain specific intensive methods by which we can screen the patients and take care that the ovarian cancer cannot develop future. A family history or a genetic condition known as Lynch syndrome, that is hereditary non-polyposis colorectal cancer. So this ये भी एक प्रकार का familial syndrome है जिसमें ovarian cancer का जो टेंडेंसी है बॉडी में बढ़ जाता है. So the risk factors are never being pregnant, early age of menarche, family history of ovarian, breast or endometrial cancer, BRCA gene mutations, family history of a genetic condition called Lynch syndrome. सो अगेन यही हम लोग इस इंफोग्राफिक में देख रहे हैं कि द रिस्क कौन से ज्यादा है. तो इंक्रीज्ड रिस्क इफ यू हैव फैमिली हिस्ट्री, जेनेटिक म्यूटेशंस, बीइंग पोस्ट मेनोपॉजल, पीरियड बंद होने के बाद यूजुअली ओवेरियन कैंसर दिखता है, सो दैट इज आल्सो अ रिस्क फैक्टर. इंक्रीजिंग एज, आपकी जैसी उम्र बढ़ती जाती है ओवरी कैंसर होने की संभावना बढ़ती जाती है. कौन सी चीजें आपकी रिस्क कम करती है? तो वन इज बीइंग प्रेग्नेंट, जैसे हम लोग ने डिस्कस किया, एंड सेकंड इज एक्टिवली ब्रेस्ट फीडिंग योर बेबी. ब्रेस्ट फीडिंग के प्रोटेक्टिव एडवांटेजेस में decreasing the risk of ovarian cancer is a very important advantage of breastfeeding. Second, कुछ studies में ऐसे भी दिखाया गया है कि oral contraceptive pills, especially जो low dose oral contraceptive pills है, इन्होंने काफ़ी अच्छा protection दिया है ovarian cancer के patients, ovarian cancer develop होने से बचाने के लिए. So all these are the risk factors for ovarian cancer. अभी हम लोग मुड़ते हैं कि व्हाट आर द टेस्ट विच कैन डिटेक्ट ओवेरियन कैंसर. अभी समझो एक पेशेंट है जो मेरे ओपीडी में आए हैं एंड शी फील्स दैट शी हैज द सिम्टम्स ऑफ ओवेरियन कैंसर. नाउ इफ द सिम्टम्स ऑफ ओवेरियन कैंसर आर देयर, आई विल एडवाइस हर सर्टेन टेस्ट आफ्टर क्लिनिकल एग्जामिनेशन टू डिटेक्ट वेदर अवर सस्पिशन इज राइट. सो विच आर दीज टेस्ट? तो पहला और सबसे इजी टेस्ट होता है अल्ट्रासाउंड ऑफ द एब्डोमेन, सोनोग्राफी एब्डोमेन की. ये सोनोग्राफी एब्डोमेन के ऊपर से भी कर सकते हैं या फिर इसको हम लोग एक ट्रांसवजाइनल रूट से भी कर सकते हैं. दिस इज नोन एज अ ट्रांसवजाइनल सोनोग्राफी और TVS. सो सोनोग्राफी में क्या दिखता है? सोनोग्राफी में अगर ओवेरियन कैंसर है तो वहां पे एक छोटी गठान दिख सकती है जिसको हम लोग सिस्टिक या मल्टीलोक्यूलेटेड सिस्टिक कॉम्प्लेक्स सिस्ट बोल सकते हैं. अगर ये फीचर आपके इसमें है तो देयर इज हाई चांस दैट यू मे हैव ओवेरियन कैंसर. व्हाट आर द अदर मोडालिटीज फॉर इमेजिंग, या फिर और कौन से टेस्ट है जिससे हम लोग डिटेक्ट कर सकते हैं कि ओवेरियन कैंसर है? सो वन ऑफ द अदर टेस्ट इज अ CT स्कैन. सो CT स्कैन यूजुअली हम लोग सिर्फ अगर पेशेंट का सर्जरी हम लोग प्लान कर रहे हैं तभी हम लोग उसको एडवाइस करते हैं. द बेस्ट टेस्ट अकॉर्डिंग टू ऑल द गाइडलाइंस इज ट्रांसवजाइनल सोनोग्राफी टू डिटेक्ट ओवेरियन कैंसर. व्हाट आर द ब्लड टेस्ट? क्या कोई ब्लड टेस्ट है जिससे हम लोग जान सकते हैं कि ओवेरियन कैंसर हमारे में डेवलप हो रहा है? सो ऐसा कोई ब्लड टेस्ट नहीं है. डायग्नोस करने के लिए तो डेफिनेटली नहीं है, पर एक टेस्ट है जिसका एक कोरिलेशन है ओवेरियन कैंसर होने से. सो जिसको हम लोग बोलते हैं CA-125. नाउ CA-125 इज अ प्रोटीन इन द ब्लड दैट गोज अप व्हेन अ वुमन हैज ओवेरियन कैंसर. सो अगर सब टेस्ट बता रहे हैं कि दिस माइट बी ओवेरियन कैंसर और आपका CA-125 लेवल इज वेरी हाई, नॉर्मली 0 to 35 होना चाहिए, पर इफ इट इज वेरी हाई, इट इज 500, 600, 800, देन दैट इज सिग्निफिकेंट एंड दैट कोरिलेट्स वेल विद पेशेंट हैविंग ओवेरियन कैंसर. फिर हम लोग अगर पेशेंट का CA-125 ज़्यादा है, उसके अल्ट्रासाउंड में भी कुछ चेंजेस दिख रहे हैं विच आर सजेस्टिव ऑफ ओवेरियन कैंसर, देन व्हाट टू डू? नाउ डिपेंडिंग अपॉन द CT स्कैन रिजल्ट्स, we will see whether the stage of the ovarian cancer is in early stage or it is in advanced stage. अगर वो अर्ली स्टेज में है तो सर्जरी करना ये ओवेरियन कैंसर के लिए सबसे बेस्ट ट्रीटमेंट हो सकती है। पर अगर वो अर्ली स्टेज में नहीं है, वो अगर एब्डोमेन या पेट के जगह पे फैल गया है या फिर पेट में अगर पानी भर गया है ऐसे दिख रहा है, देन अ बायोप्सी में बी टेकन एंड बायोप्सी के रिपोर्ट के ऊपर हम लोग आगे का ट्रीटमेंट डिसाइड कर सकते हैं। ये हम लोग आगे के स्लाइड्स में देखेंगे थोड़ा ट्रीटमेंट डिटेल्स। सो मूविंग अहेड, व्हाट आर द स्टेजेस ऑफ ओवेरियन कैंसर। सो अभी जैसे मैंने बताया कि स्टेज के ऊपर डिपेंड करता है कि आपकी ट्रीटमेंट कैसे होगी, तो इसके पहले हमने जानना चाहिए कि व्हाट आर द स्टेजेस ऑफ ओवेरियन कैंसर। सो स्टेजेस ऑफ ओवेरियन कैंसर आर कैटेगराइज्ड फ्रॉम स्टेज 1 टू स्टेज 4। नाउ अगर हम लोग इस डायग्राम में देखें, सो दीज आर द हेल्दी ओवरीज, ये लाइट ग्रीन कलर के ओवरीज है, इसमें चेंजेस अभी शुरू हो गए हैं। Now these changes are confined only to one ovary or both the ovaries. So this is stage 1 of ovarian cancer. Now if in stage 2 the ovaries are involved, the uterus में वो जो खराब cells है वो अगर spread हो गए हैं, then that is cancer spreads within the pelvic region, that is known as stage 2 of ovarian cancer. Now stage 3 of ovarian cancer क्या है कि pelvic region से निकल के अगर जो बीमारी है वो ऊपर स्प्रेड हो गई, जैसे इंटेस्टाइन्स जो अपने अतड़े होते हैं, पेट होता है, तो वहां पे स्प्रेड हो गई। ओमेंटम हम लोग बोलते हैं, जो एक चर्बी की कवर होती है अपने सब ऑर्गन्स के ऊपर। तो इफ द ओवेरियन कैंसर स्प्रेड्स इन दीज एरियाज, इट इज नोन एज स्टेज 3 ऑफ ओवेरियन कैंसर। नाउ व्हाट इज स्टेज 4? So stage 4 of ovarian cancer is when the ovarian cancer spreads from the abdomen to other areas like liver के अंदर के साइड में, या फिर it goes into the lungs, या फिर it goes into the lymph nodes, जैसे गले के lymph nodes में अगर बीमारी आ जाती है, that is known as stage 4 of ovarian cancer. So roughly these are the staging methods how we divide the ovarian cancer treatment. So जैसे मैंने आपको बोला, स्टेज 1 से 2 तक अगर हम लोग देखें तो इसको हम अर्ली स्टेज कैंसर बोलेंगे, और स्टेज 3 और 4 को हम लोग एडवांस स्टेज कैंसर बोलेंगे। अभी सबसे इम्पॉर्टेंट चीज ऐसी है कि समझने की कि ओवेरियन कैंसर ये काफी अच्छे से कंट्रोल हो सकता है। अगर आप स्टेज 1 से 3 में है तो ओवेरियन कैंसर के रिजल्ट्स आर वंडरफुल, इट इज एन इमेंसली क्यूरेबल कैंसर। अगर आप स्टेज 4 में है फिर भी निराश होने की जरूरत नहीं है। इट इज अ वेरी वेरी रिस्पॉन्सिव ट्यूमर टू ऑल द कीमोथेरेपी एंड द न्यूअर टारगेटेड थेरेपी एजेंट्स विच कैन कंट्रोल द कैंसर सच अ वेरी वेल control can be achieved that the ovarian cancer can be the lifespan can be extended from number of years. So definitely ovarian cancer is something that should not be feared by the patients, and like we discussed, all the symptoms should be easily identified and discussed with your doctor. So can we screen for ovarian cancer? There is no screening test for usual or normal women फॉर ओवेरियन कैंसर। ऐसे कोई स्क्रीनिंग टेस्ट नहीं है। अगर कोई मेरे पेशेंट्स आते हैं और मुझे पूछते हैं कि सर हम लोग CA 125 करते हैं, हमको ऐसे लगता है कि हमारे ओवेरियन कैंसर की होने की संभावना ज़्यादा है, तो आई स्ट्रांगली डिस्करेज देम, दैट इज नॉट रिकमेंडेड इन द गाइडलाइंस। ओनली हाई रिस्क केसेस कैन बी स्क्रीन्ड फॉर ओवेरियन कैंसर। एंड विच आर दीज हाई रिस्क केसेस? अगर आपको फैमिली हिस्ट्री है ओवेरियन कैंसर की, अगर आपको पता है कि आपके अंदर जो हमने जीन्स डिस्कस किया जैसे ब्राका जीन है या फिर लिंच सिंड्रोम के आप पेशेंट हो, अगर आप में ये सब चेंजेस है, सो यू बिकम अ हाई रिस्क पॉपुलेशन फॉर डेवलपमेंट ऑफ ओवेरियन कैंसर, एंड देन स्क्रीनिंग में भी रिकमेंडेड। इट्स अ स्क्रीनिंग के भी काफ़ी फाइन पॉइंट्स होते हैं जो हम लोग कभी और या किसी नेक्स्ट लेक्चर में डिस्कस करेंगे। सो ovarian cancer, usually there is nothing to screen. Only high risk females can be screened who have a strong family history and genetic mutations. So ovarian cancer के treatment options क्या है? For most women, having surgery to remove the cancer is the first part of the treatment. Further, आगे की ट्रीटमेंट, द फर्दर ट्रीटमेंट विल डिपेंड अपॉन द स्टेज ऑफ द कैंसर एंड ऑन हर मेडिकल प्रॉब्लम्स, यानी आपको और कौन सी बीमारी है, डू यू हैव एनी अदर कोमॉर्बिडिटीज लाइक डायबिटीज, हाइपरटेंशन एंड अदर फीचर्स. Some women may not need any further therapy after surgery. Other women might need further treatment that includes chemotherapy and targeted therapy. Chemotherapy is a medical term for medicines that kill cancer cells or stop them from growing. It is usually given as an IV infusion. जैसे normally हमारा सलाइन चढ़ाते हैं, वैसे ही हम लोग ovarian cancer के chemotherapy के medicines देते हैं. Sometimes they can go through a small tube into the lower part of the stomach. और ये upcoming treatment है ovarian cancer के लिए, where we can give intraperitoneal chemotherapy also. So ये intraperitoneal chemotherapy आपके सर्जरी के तुरंत बाद होती है. So these are the emerging aspects of ovarian cancer treatment. So अगर हम लोग थोड़ा सा डिटेल में जाने की कोशिश करें, सो अगर पेशेंट एक डॉक्टर के पास प्रेजेंट होते हैं और शी हैज फीचर्स और सिम्टम्स ऑफ ओवेरियन कैंसर, सो इज ओवेरियन कैंसर सस्पेक्टेड? अगर डॉक्टर को लगता है शी इज सस्पेक्ट फॉर ओवेरियन कैंसर, व्हाट वी डू इज वी सेंड फॉर CA-125. वी डू अ सोनोग्राफी ऑफ द एब्डोमेन. If CA-125 is more than 35 and the sonography suggests that there is a possibility of ovarian cancer, the patient is referred to somebody who, like me, that is an oncologist. Now the oncologist will decide according to the sonography scans and the CT scan what exactly is the stage of the ovarian cancer. Now after determining the stage of the ovarian cancer, we discuss with our surgery colleagues that whether this can be completely removed. So something which is known as optimal cytoreduction. अगर हम लोग even stage 3 का कैंसर हो तभी completely या less than 1 centimeter बीमारी छोड़ के पूरा बीमारी निकाल सकते हैं. So if we can optimally cytoreduce the patient, a surgery is undertaken upfront. So ovary cancer में अगर हम लोग पहले सर्जरी करते हैं, but the thing to bear in mind that surgery should remove quite a number of tumor cells and only less than 1 centimeter of the disease should be left back. Then surgery upfront is a very good option. So suspicion of ovarian cancer, अगर हमने देखा कि tumor imaging हमने किया, अगर वो सर्जरी के पॉसिबिलिटी है, if the surgery is possible, then we go for surgery. Then the surgical specimen that we get out of the surgery is sent for pathological evaluation, and after the results of the pathology test, we determine further treatment. So now the most common type of ovarian cancer is epithelial ovarian cancers, जिसके दो टाइप होते हैं, सीरस और म्यूसिनस, और कुछ लेस कॉमन वैरायटीज भी होती है. सबसे कॉमन है सीरस वैरायटी. तो इस सीरस वैरायटी में अगर आपके रिपोर्ट्स में ऐसा आता है कि दिस इज अ सीरस वैरायटी ऑफ ओवेरियन कैंसर, देन व्हाट वी कैन डू इज वी कैन गिव और सब्जेक्ट द पेशेंट टू 6 cycles ऑफ कीमोथेरेपी प्लस टारगेटेड थेरेपी फॉलोड बाय मेंटेनेंस टारगेटेड थेरेपी. अगर पेशेंट का पहले सर्जरी नहीं हो सकता तो हम लोग क्या करते हैं? सो व्हाट वी ट्राई टू अचीव इज श्रिंकिंग द ट्यूमर. हम ट्यूमर को छोटा करने की कोशिश करते हैं सो दैट आफ्टर सम टाइम, आफ्टर श्रिंकिंग द ट्यूमर, इट मे बिकम ऑपरेबल. सो व्हाट वी डू इज वी गिव chemotherapy upfront to these patients. We give 3 to 4 cycles of chemotherapy, redo the scans. If the scans say that the tumor is now operable, we go for a surgery that is known as a interval debulking surgery. After the surgery, again there are few cycles of chemotherapy, usually 3, and that completes the treatment. So once the treatment is completed, then what? Then usually there is a surveillance schedule that is to be followed. The patient follows up with her doctor every month. We monitor the CA-125 levels. क्योंकि ये ट्रीटमेंट पूरी होने के बाद CA-125 levels और आपकी सोनोग्राफी इमेजिंग should have come down to normal. Now if it is come down to normal, we want to detect any change that happens, to detect any recurrence of ovarian cancer. So that can be detected by a CA-125 test, which can be done every month, and a sonography or a CT scan which can be done after 3 months. So that is how we usually try to manage ovarian cancer. Now the very important thing, how to prevent ovarian cancer. Now we saw that the risk factors of ovarian cancer, there are certain modifiable risk factors and certain non-modifiable risk factors. जैसे age है, this is non-modifiable, age आपका बढ़ते ही जाने वाला है. The second is genetic predisposition, that is nothing under your control. Now the factors that are under your control are your weight. So there is a strong correlation that obesity may lead to development of ovarian cancer. So a healthy and a physically active lifestyle can prevent you from development of ovarian cancer. pregnancy and breastfeeding your child. So breastfeeding is something that is very important, and breastfeeding has preventive effects for breast cancer as well as ovarian cancer. Oral contraceptive pills and avoiding carcinogens, these are also very important factors that can be done to prevent from development of ovarian cancer. Now this was all about ovarian cancer. Now moving on to the other very important gynecological cancer, that is cervical cancer. What exactly is cervical cancer? The cervical cancer develops in the woman's cervix, that is entrance of the uterus from the vagina. Almost all cervical cancer cases, that is about 99%, are linked to infection with human papilloma virus, especially HPV-16 और HPV-18. तो ह्यूमन पैपिलोमा वायरस एक प्रकार का वायरस है जिसका इन्फेक्शन अगर आपको होता है, यूजुअली इट इज सेक्सुअली ट्रांसमिटेड, तो अगर आपको हो जाता है तो काफी सारे विमेन में ये इन्फेक्शन होता है पर ये क्लियर ऑफ हो जाता है. But because of certain reasons or because of the infection is not being able to clear out from the body, then what happens is that there are certain changes that happen in the cervix and the tissue of the cervix, and this develops into a cervical cancer. इसकी एक प्रोसेस होती है जिसको पहले अर्ली स्टेज या स्टेज 0 को हम लोग बोल सकते हैं सर्वाइकल इंट्राएपिथेलियल नियोप्लेजिया, जिसका 1, 2 और 3 स्टेज होता है, जिसके आगे जाके सर्वाइकल कैंसर में डेवलपमेंट होता है. So although most infections with HPV resolve spontaneously and cause no symptoms, persistent infection can cause cervical cancer in women. So what are the symptoms of cervical cancer? So कैसे पता चलेगा कि आपको cervical cancer है? So the symptoms of cervical cancer are abnormal vaginal bleeding or spotting between periods, unusually longer or heavier periods, and bleeding after menopause. Unusual or excessive vaginal discharge with foul smell, bleeding after having sexual intercourse, pain in lower abdomen and pelvic pain, and pain during sexual intercourse. So these can be very common symptoms of cervical cancer. Especially ये जो last symptom यहाँ पे दिया हुआ है, bleeding after menopause, this is one of the most common, that is postmenopausal bleeding. It's one of the most common symptom of cervical cancer. But cervical cancer is not the disease only of the elderly people. It can occur in young females also. So moving ahead, what are the risk factors of cervical cancer? So जैसे हमने देखा, cervical cancer is because of the human papilloma virus. Human papilloma virus is a sexually transmitted virus. So early first sexual intercourse, the age of intercourse, if it is early, patient has multiple sexual partners, or the patient's partner has multiple sexual partners, or if the patient is a tobacco user. So काफी रूरल एरियाज में हम लोग देखते हैं that the people take tobacco either in the form of chewed tobacco जैसे मिश्री है, या फिर other forms like BDs. This can predispose you to development of cervical cancer. This has also been now seen in urban women where cigarette smoking is picking up and the numbers are increasing. So that is also something to be aware about. And if you have immune suppression, so if the patient is immunocompromised, so the patient suffering from AIDS, so those can also are more predisposed to development of cervical cancer. So how is cervical cancer staged? So अगर अब हम लोग इस ग्राफिक को देख सके, so stage 1 है when the tumor is confined to the cervix only. This is a very early stage, and this is usually detected when the patient is undergoing certain tests like pap smears, or the patient has undergone for a routine checkup. So इसकी कोई symptoms usually नहीं दिखाई देते. And if we are able to catch this cervical cancer or the changes which can lead to cervical cancer in this stage, then it can be very well treated. Okay, only a small procedure can remove the entire diseased area, and the patient can be sure that the cervical cancer will not develop in future. So what is stage 2? The disease goes beyond the cervix but not to the pelvic wall or the lower 1/3 of the vagina. Now this is the stage 2 of cervical cancer, where ये बीमारी शुरू हो गई है in the cervix, but it has not gone to the other organs in the pelvis. It has not gone too deep into the vagina, so it is almost above the uterine orifice only, and this is stage 2 of cervical cancer. What is stage 3? When it is involving the pelvic side wall. Now this is stage 3 of cervical cancer, where it spreads and involves the other neighboring organs. Now, and what is stage 4? When it involves the organs which are in front and at the back. So in the front of the cervix there is the urinary bladder, जो जिसको बोलते हैं हम लोग पेशाब की थैली, and in the back it is the rectum, that is the lowermost part of your large intestine. So these are this, if the cervical cancer involves these areas, or the cervical cancer through your blood spreads into the different organs like liver or lungs, it is called as stage 4 or cervical cancer. Now अगर आप इस ग्राफिक को देखें थोड़ा ध्यान से, so there is written a 5-year survival, how many patients can survive when you have cervical cancer in which stage. So अगर stage 0 में पकड़ा जाए, so that's 100% 5-year survival. If stage 1, it is 85%, stage 2 is 65%, stage 3 is 35% and stage 4 is 7%. So जैसे जैसे आपका स्टेज बढ़ते जाता है, आपका सर्वाइवल का चांस कम होते जाता है. और इसी के लिए सर्वाइकल कैंसर, if you can pick it up at an early stage, then treatment and overall outcomes are very better as compared to an advanced stage of cervical cancer. So early detection and treatment is of key importance for cervical cancer. और ये early detection हम लोग कैसे करें? So there should be a cervical cancer screening program. We'll look into the further slides. So cervical cancer screening, these are tests for early detection. Now screening is any type of test which is done in asymptomatic individual. So जिसका मतलब क्या होता है कि आपको कोई भी symptoms नहीं है cervical cancer के, पर आप एक टेस्ट करते हो on a regular basis, so that if the disease is developing, you can catch it early and at that time you can tackle it really well. So women should begin cervical cancer screening at 21 years of age, regardless of whether sexual intercourse has been started or it has not. Data indicate that cervical cancer screening should be avoided in women younger than 21 years because these women are at a very low risk of cervical cancer and because treatment can lead to complications. So usually जो young females होती है उनमें अगर infection भी हो जाता है HPV virus का, so body can take care of it. तो body fights the infection and the infection is normalized. जैसे जैसे उम्र बढ़ती जाती है वैसे वैसे ये जो fighting power है that decreases. So कौन सी टेस्ट है which can be done for cervical cancer screening? So there are two important tests. One is cervical cytology, that is the pap test, and the second is HPV DNA testing. अगर दोनों को साथ में किया जाए तो उसको बोलते हैं co-testing. So अगर the age is less than 21 years, no screening is required. If the age is 21 to 29 years, cytology alone every 3 yearly. So a pap smear test is a very simple test. It is a very cheap test. कोई भी अगर अच्छे से भी अच्छे हॉस्पिटल में आप जाओ तो उसका कॉस्ट ऑलमोस्ट 500 to 1000 रुपीज के अंदर होता है. This test has to be done every 3 years. And if you do this test, it has been shown that almost 90% of cervical cancer cases can be detected early and then they can be treated better and the outcomes can be really outstanding. After you cross the age of 30, HPV and cytology co-testing हम लोग कर सकते हैं. This is a better or a sensitive test. HPV DNA test होता है. It's a test where HPV DNA is analyzed and it's a very sensitive test. So if you do it with pap smear, then the testing duration increases from 3 years to 5 years. अगर आप co-testing कर रहे हो तो 5 years में एक बार करवाओ. अगर आप co-testing नहीं कर रहे हो because HPV DNA is a slightly costly test, then you can continue with pap smear only every 3 years. So it's very important that we do this screening for cervical cancer, and there should be a government mandate also which is incorporating cervical cancer screening into its policies. So थोड़ा हम लोग और डिटेल में देखते हैं what exactly is a pap test. So pap test yields optimum results if scheduled between 10 to 20 days of your first day of menstrual period. जैसे आपके पीरियड अगर शुरू हो गए, आपको pap test करवानी है, so 10 से 20 के आफ्टर स्टार्टिंग ऑफ योर मेंसेस आप 10वें दिन से आगे to the maximum of 20 days you can do your pap test. वुमन शुड नॉट बी मेंस्ट्रुएटिंग एट द टाइम ऑफ टेस्ट, या कि पीरियड शुरू नहीं होने चाहिए. द प्रिपरेशन फॉर पैप स्मीयर, सो यू शुड अवॉइड द फॉलोइंग 48 hours बिफोर द पैप टेस्ट. वन इज सेक्शुअल इंटरकोर्स, सेकेंड इज डाउशिंग ऑफ द वजाइना, थर्ड इज एनी वजाइनल मेडिकेशंस, एंड फोर्थ is vaginal contraceptives like creams or jellies. How is the procedure? And instrument called the speculum is gently inserted into the vagina to visualize the cervix. फिर there is a small swab stick or a small wooden stick or a spatula that is gently scraped over the lower part of the cervix, and the cells are collected. These cells are placed in the glass slide and immediately fixed by ethanol, and this is sent for laboratory for further processing and interpretation. So cervical cytology screening should be initiated and be continued in women who have been vaccinated against HPV 16 and 18. So yes, there is HPV vaccination also, and we'll deal it in the further slides. Women previously treated with CIN2 and CIN3 should continue to have routine screening for at least 20 years after treatment and after initial post-operative surveillance, because they remain at the risk of persistent and recurrent disease. इसका मतलब क्या है कि अगर पहले किसी फीमेल में किसी महिला में सर्वाइकल कैंसर के अर्ली चेंजेस या स्टेज 0 पकड़ा गया है एंड वी हैव ट्रीटेड इट, फिर भी उस फीमेल ने आगे जाके एटलीस्ट 20 साल तक सर्वाइकल कैंसर स्क्रीनिंग दैट इज पैप टेस्ट करते रहना है, बिकॉज शी मे हैव चांसेस टू डेवलपमेंट ऑफ सर्वाइकल कैंसर इन फ्यूचर ऑल्सो. Now moving on to what are vaccines of cervical cancer. Now vaccine of cervical cancer is something where there are divided opinions. Why is it so? Because the first thing is that not all HPV infections lead to cervical cancer. ठीक है, ये स्टेटमेंट आप मेरा समझ लीजिए कि हर HPV इन्फेक्शन सर्वाइकल कैंसर कॉज नहीं करता. सो जैसे हमने देखा कि जो यंग फीमेल्स होती हैं उसमें HPV इन्फेक्शन हो जाता है, ह्यूमन पैपिलोमा वायरस इन्फेक्शन हो जाता है, बट दैट मे नॉट लीड टू सर्वाइकल कैंसर. नाउ द सेकेंड स्टेटमेंट इज द वैक्सीन इज टू प्रिवेंट इन्फेक्शन ऑफ HPV, दैट इज HPV वायरस का इन्फेक्शन होने से वैक्सीन हमको प्रिवेंट करता है. ठीक है, सो द थिंग टू नोट हियर इज दैट if you are giving HPV vaccine to your child, there is very high chance that she may not get HPV virus infection, and any chance of future development of cervical cancer can be avoided. But the argument is, दूसरा उसका पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू ऐसा है कि अगर मुझे पता ही नहीं कि आगे जाके मुझे सर्वाइकल कैंसर नहीं होने वाला है, then why should I take the vaccine? So this is a very controversial and a topic that leads to discussions into number of meetings that I attend. But taking all the pros and cons into advantage, into discussion, if the females are vaccinated with HPV vaccine, they are much less possible to develop cervical cancer in near future. So इसको support करने वाले कुछ statistics है, क्योंकि many of the developed countries have started giving HPV vaccine as their routine vaccination program, जिसमें US आता है, जिसमें ऑस्ट्रेलिया आता है. So what have they noticed? So they have noticed that HPV vaccine works in 71, HPV vaccination has worked to decrease the chance of cervical cancer by almost 71%. It is a common virus that infects men and women, and 80% of people will get an HPV infection in their lifetime. So preventing cancer is better than treating it. So if you are vaccinating your child against HPV, then the development of cervical cancer is restricted, and the benefit of prevention rather than treatment of the cervical cancer can be much more better than going through the process of treatment. So that is how HPV vaccine can help us. So what vaccines are usually available in India? So India में दो टाइप के वैक्सीन अवेलेबल है. एक है सर्वैरिक्स विच इज अ बाइवैलेंट वैक्सीन, जिसमें HPV 16 और 18 ये सब टाइप्स इंक्लूड किए गए हैं, और दूसरा है क्वाड्रीवैलेंट वैक्सीन दैट इज नोन एज गार्डासिल, जिसमें 6, 11, 16 और 18 ये सब टाइप्स इंक्लूड किए गए हैं. द डोज है 3 डोज लगते हैं 0, 1 and 6 months and Gardasil is 0, 2 and 6 months. So this is administered in females from age of 9 to 11, the preferable age, but you can even take the vaccine till the age of 20 and up, but the chances of benefiting from the vaccine, it goes on decreasing. सो नाउ फ्रॉम वैक्सीन अगर आपको डायग्नोस करना है कि सर्वाइकल कैंसर है, सो व्हाट टू डू. सो देर इज लाइक वी सॉ अ स्पेक्यूलम दैट इज इंसर्टेड. दिस प्रोसेस इज नोन एज कॉल्पोस्कोपी, जिसमें कॉल्पोस्कोप आपके सर्विक्स को एग्जामिन करने के लिए यूज किया जाता है टू मार्क आउट ऑल द एबनॉर्मल एरियाज. और एबनॉर्मल एरियाज में से पैप टेस्ट और एक बायोप्सी टेस्ट हम लोग लेते हैं. सो दीज बायोप्सी टेस्ट एंड पैप टेस्ट आर सेंट फॉर पैथोलॉजिकल चेकिंग एंड देन once the results come, the patient is diagnosed as a cervical cancer patient. So moving on to treatment options of cervical cancer. So pre-treatment, the treatment of precancerous lesions may include the following: removal or destruction of the part of the affected cervix. So invasive उसमें कौन से methods आते हैं? One is cryosurgery, application of freezing probe to destroy abnormal or diseased tissue in the cervix for about 5 minutes. फिर एक प्रोसीजर है जिसको हम लोग बोलते हैं लूप इलेक्ट्रोसर्जिकल एक्सीजन प्रोसीजर, जिसमें एक लूप जो डिसीज्ड एरिया है उसके अगेंस्ट हम लोग स्लाइड करते हैं एंड वी कट आउट दैट एरिया. So this is when the disease is very early and it is in the pre-cancerous stage. उसमें हम लोग लेजर सर्जरी या कोनाइजेशन भी कर सकते हैं. What is conization? Excision of a cone-shaped sample of the tissue from the mucous membrane of the cervix using a cold knife or scalpel. This process requires hospital admission. And the most radical procedure would be hysterectomy, where the entire uterus along with the cervix can be removed, especially in the women who have completed their families and further do not want to have children. Now if you move on from the various stages of cervical cancer, the first stage of cervical cancer, it is usually treated by surgery, where the cancer is restricted to the cervix. Here if you can see in this diagram, we can do multiple types of surgery like total hysterectomy, that is removal of uterus, hysterectomy with bilateral salpingo-oophorectomy, that is removal of uterus, fallopian tubes and ovaries. This is especially if the female has completed her family, is an elderly female postmenopausal. या फिर radical hysterectomy जहाँ पे neighboring tissue को भी remove किया जाता है. This is slightly for the advanced cases. So moving on from stage 2 to stage 3 of cervical cancer, usually radiation and chemotherapy are the preferred treatments for stage 2 upwards for treatment of cervical cancer. Stage 4 of cervical cancer, that is when the cervical cancer is invading the bladder, the rectum, or it is spreading into other organs, usually is treated well with chemotherapy and targeted therapy. Now I will just like to mention, मैं last ओवेरियन कैंसर में भी बोला और सर्वाइकल कैंसर में भी बोल रहा हूँ, देयर इज समथिंग नोन एज टारगेटेड थेरेपी. नाउ व्हाट एग्जैक्टली इज टारगेटेड थेरेपी? टारगेटेड थेरेपी आर न्यूअर मेडिसिन्स which have been developed to identify certain receptors on the cancer cells or identify the blood vessels which are supplying the cancer cells and then decreasing specifically these cells. So this indirectly leads to killing of only the cancer cells and the normal cells of the body are spared. So they are very targeted in their action. They don't have any action beyond the target and hence these are known as targeted therapy. So so ovarian cancer और cervical cancer में हम लोग एक targeted injection use करते हैं जिसका नाम है bevacizumab, and this has really improved the results in both the diseases. Now moving on to prevention of cervical cancer, again we saw that cervical cancer is spread or the virus is spread because of promiscuous sexual activity, so that should be avoided. Safe sex practices should be inculcated, that is use of condoms and other contraceptives during sex, especially barrier contraceptives. Quit smoking. If you are a smoker, if you are having the habits of taking tobacco, quit it, because it is not only oral cavity and lung cancer that is caused because of smoking. Cervical cancer can also be predisposed because of smoking. And vaccination of cervical cancer against cervical cancer. So agar vaccination is given, we can prevent cervical cancer. Now moving ahead, we'll go a little fast. Now, the uterine cancer. So what is uterine cancer? Uterine cancer is something, is the cancer which develops in the uterus, that is the womb. Uterine cancer happens in normal cells of the uterus, and they change into abnormal cells and grow out of control. There are different types of uterine cancer, but the most uterine cancer starts in the thin inner lining of the uterus, that is known as the endometrium. So this is also known as the endometrioid type of uterine cancer. Uterine cancer can occur in women with any age, but it is more common in women who have undergone menopause. जिनके मासिक बंद हो गई है, जिनके पीरियड्स बंद हो गए, उनमें ये यूट्राइन कैंसर होने की ज्यादा संभावना होती है. Menopause is the time of woman's life where she stops having her menstrual periods. What are the symptoms of uterine cancer? Bloody or watery discharge that has a bad smell, discomfort or pain in the abdomen, difficulty or pain while micturition or passing urine, pain during sex, and bleeding between periods or after menopause. So this is the symptom gamut of uterine cancer. Moving ahead, what are the risk factors? So obesity, being post-menopause, menstruation that began before the age of 12, never having been pregnant, high estrogen levels, changes in the balance of your hormones, use of hormone replacement therapy with estrogen, polycystic ovarian syndrome. So काफी सारे young females में polycystic ovarian syndrome पाया जाता है, and this has closely associated with something known as metabolic syndrome, जहाँ पे because of being overweight, not having a healthy lifestyle, more reliance on eating fast food, the patients may develop certain hormonal changes which may lead to polycystic ovarian syndrome. So these are risk factors for development of uterine cancer. There is also association of diabetes with uterine cancer, and again Lynch syndrome and his family history of breast and ovarian cancer can predispose a person to development of uterine cancer. So how is uterine cancer treated? Most women with uterine cancer have surgery to remove the uterus and the ovaries and the tubes, that is the fallopian tubes connecting both of them. This surgery is known as hysterectomy. After the surgery, if the disease is in very early stage, then we can escape any further treatment. However, if it is showing any high risk features, then the patient may require radiation. If the disease is in stage 2, 3 and upwards, then the patient may require chemotherapy as well as radiation therapy. So the three arms or the three legs of the tripod of uterine cancer treatment are: one is surgery, second is chemotherapy and radiation therapy, and in some extents in very elderly people or people who have very early stage disease, we can use hormonal therapy also. These inhibit hormonal signals that promote tumor growth. So if hormonal signals are inhibited, the tumor cannot grow, and hence we can achieve a good control. So these are the various methods how we can control uterine cancer. अदर गायनेकोलॉजिकल कैंसर्स, सो फैलोपियन ट्यूब कैंसर, जैसे हमने देखा कि फैलोपियन ट्यूब कैंसर इज वेरी सिमिलर टू ओवेरियन कैंसर, सिम्टम्स आर ऑल्सो वेरी सेम एंड द मैनेजमेंट इज ऑल्सो वेरी सेम. वल्वल कैंसर और एक्सटर्नल जेनेटलिया का कैंसर, सो दिस इज समथिंग usually it's not very common. It is usually associated with poor hygienic practices, and it is similar to skin cancer. It can cause itching, burning, pain in that region, a lump, sore, swelling or a wart-like growth. Usually it may be associated with HPV virus again, but a different type of HPV virus like 6 or 11. It may be of type say a melanoma, which may be a skin cancer of that area. It can have hard swollen lymph nodes in the groin region, which may correlate with vulvar cancer. So these are the various symptoms of vulvar cancer. What is vaginal cancer? Again, this is a tumor which is developing into the vagina. It can present as blood-stained discharge, usually not at the time that you get your periods, but in between the periods, that is spotting, bleeding after sex, pain in the pelvic region, a lump in the vagina, bleeding while passing urine, and pain in the rectal region, that is the lowermost part of your large intestine. Now we have discussed more or less very much in detail, and what is very important regarding to gynecological cancers. there are certain methods or certain ways in which we can change our lifestyle so that we can prevent cancer in general. So we'll just look into these factors. These are applicable to gynecological cancers as well as non-gynecological cancers, that is breast cancer, abdominal cancer, that is intestinal cancer, etc., colon cancer. So the cancer prevention recommendations say that be of a healthy weight. Okay, so your body mass index should be less than 25. Move more. Be physically active for at least 30 minutes every day and sit less. So there was a study in Europe which had compared a person sitting for 6 hours versus consumption of 1 cigarette. So almost both had similar risk of development of cancer. So move more, be physically active. Avoid high calorie foods and sugary drinks. So all the high calorie colas and the processed foods with added fat and sugar and low on fiber can lead to development of cancer. Enjoy more grains, fruits and vegetables. Eat a wide variety of whole grains, vegetables, fruits and pulses such as beans. If you are a non-vegetarian, limit the consumption of red meat. So red meat is beef, pork, lamb. So if you are consuming this predominantly, you try to limit that amount that you are consuming. Eat little, if any, processed meat such as ham or bacon. So now processed meat by WHO is a category 1 carcinogen, and it may lead to many types of various other diseases. So so control on what you eat is very important. For cancer prevention, don't drink alcohol. So alcohol is strictly prohibited for cancer prevention. Limit alcoholic drinks and follow national guidelines. Eat less salt. For cancer prevention, do not rely any supplements. There are no miracle supplements which can help you lose weight or maintain a healthy diet. So a proper tried and tested way is to change your lifestyle in such a way that over a period of time you become and adopt a healthy well-being. If you we were discussing about gynecological cancers, we discussed that breastfeeding. So if you breastfeed your baby for 6 months before adding other liquid foods, so what it means to say is that breastfeed your baby as much as possible. Usual duration is about 1 to 1.5 years. If you do that, the chance of ovarian cancer, uterine cancer, breast cancer is sincerely reduced. Moving ahead, some take-home messages. Adopt a healthy lifestyle, keep your weight in the normal range, be physically active, eat plenty of fresh fruits, vegetables, be aware about warning signs and symptoms, adopt safe sexual practices, avoid limit and exposure to environmental carcinogens, go for regular health checkups and cancer screening. Don't use tobacco in any form, limit your alcohol consumption, avoid spicy, fried, preserved and junk food, and avoid a sedentary lifestyle. Always keep exercising. With this, I will end my presentation here. This presentation in the month of September, it was a wonderful opportunity to discuss and to share a little bit more insight and a detailed information about all these gynecological cancers. Screening is a very important thing. So any further questions, I'll definitely try to answer them all. Thank you. Okay, so now I'll take some questions which have come down in the comment section. So we'll just see which was the first question. Okay. So there is a question posted here by Mr. Vinod Sambar, and he asks, is primary peritoneal cancer a gynecological cancer? Now yes, primary peritoneal cancer is a type of gynecological cancer. The group of ovarian cancer, fallopian tube cancer and primary peritoneal cancer are clubbed together. More or less they are managed in a very similar way. Usually we treat primary peritoneal cancer similar to ovarian cancer, which is in its stage 3. So if you can operate and remove the primary peritoneal cancer disease in upfront surgery, what we do is we go for the surgery and then we go for chemotherapy. If it is not upfront operable, then what we do is we give chemotherapy, try to shrink the disease, and then go for an interval debulking surgery. More or less, all the guidelines of ovarian cancer are similar to primary peritoneal cancer. Moving on to the next question, there is Mrs. Nalini Sapkal. She asks, my mom had ovarian cancer in her 50s. Am I at risk? Yes. So the risk of development of ovarian cancer is there in the family. You should get yourself examined by your gynecologist or an oncologist. If you have any reports of your mother which say that that ovarian cancer that she had any genetic predisposition, or else your family had any other family members also who had ovarian cancer or breast cancer, then it makes you very prone to development of ovarian cancer. And I think that is a very important way that you have noticed, and you should go and consult an oncologist or a gynecologist to see if you are predisposed to development of ovarian cancer. Mr. Prathamesh Bhise, they ask, he's asking if how common is the cervical cancer in India. Now, cervical cancer in India is the topmost cancer. Usually the incidence of cancer is measured by various surveys, and there is a very good survey which is conducted throughout the world. This is known as the GloboCan survey. The recent data was published in 2018, and that showed that the breast cancer is the topmost cancer in India. This is the recent data that I am telling you. Before this, for 10 years down the line, cervical cancer was the topmost cancer in India. Now, there is again differentiation between urban India and rural India. So rural India, cervical cancer incidence is much more than urban India. But now the incidence has started to increase of breast cancer, and it has overtaken cervical cancer. But safe sex practices, awareness about cervical cancer, and use of vaccination has also led to decrease in the incidence of cervical cancer. So it is both ways, breast cancer increasing and cervical cancer decreasing. But yes, it is a very common cancer in India. If I see about 100 patients in a day, then out of that, at least 20 to 30 would be of cervical cancer. There is Mrs. Neha Mehta, who is asking, my mom is 70 years having breast cancer stage 3C. She got operated in February this year. She could take 4 chemos, then got affected with COVID, and it was very mild, and she recovered well out of it and is doing well now. But now she does not want to take radiation and is taking hormonal treatment, anastrozole. Recently, sometimes she complains about bloating in stomach and feels the stomach has become big. I am worried as her treatment is incomplete. Can breast cancer with incomplete treatment lead to ovarian cancer? So I am very happy that she is doing well. She has completed the chemos and she is on hormonal therapy. She'll continue to do well. My wishes are with her. Breast cancer and ovarian cancer, these are related tumors. I think the treating oncologist will be able to guide you. The complaints that you are mentioning may be because of certain other causes, but this has to be evaluated. So incomplete breast cancer treatment per se is not a reason to develop ovarian cancer, but it can be a same spectrum of the disease. So you get yourself a sonography done. Consult with your treating oncologist as to why she is having these repeated symptoms, and I think we'll find the answer very soon. So there is Mr. Suresh Gupta. He is asking, is there death rate percentage in India due to ovarian cancer? So death rate percent in India due to ovarian cancer. So ovarian cancer is one of the cancers which usually does not lead to deaths. So most of the patients respond really well with ovarian cancer. There are then years where the ovarian cancer is very much under control, and then again it can come back. So is surgery beneficial to stage 3 ovarian cancer, and how to control the infection during surgery? So surgery is beneficial in stage 3 ovarian cancer. That is known as interval debulking surgery or primary debulking surgery, where the tumor can be removed and optimal cytoreduction can be achieved. This is usually followed by chemotherapy and targeted therapy, like we discussed. Infection from surgery due to surgery can be reduced by all the similar ways as to. So infection can be reduced by adopting proper surgical practices, giving patient antibiotics and other stuffs. So usual surgical precautions can be taken to reduce any chance of infection during surgery. These are standard surgical protocols, and yes, surgery is beneficial to stage 3 ovarian cancer. After surgery of ovarian cancer, is stool problem occurs, what are the precautions? So I think this question means that during the surgery there was some incontinence issues now that the patient has, and she's not able to control her motions. So I think the surgeon or your oncologist will be able to examine the area and find the cause as to why exactly are these problems occurring, and they can sort it out. We'll take few more questions. So Mrs. Pratichi Patil, she is asking, if cervical punch biopsy is essential for diagnosis, then what is the rationale of doing colposcopy? Okay, so colposcopy is a scopy, so it is a method to examine the cervix. Biopsy is a method where we remove a tissue of the cervix and send it for further testing. So colposcopy is something where we can identify which is the diseased area, and then from that area we can take a punch biopsy. So these are methods which are complementary to each other. Okay, so both of them doing is very important. Without knowing which is the diseased area, you cannot take biopsy effectively. So that is how we do colposcopy as well as punch biopsy. So there is one more question. What is the difference between fallopian tube cancer, peritoneal cancer and ovarian cancer? Okay, this is also a very important question. What are the differences between all these cancers? So basically the originating site of these tumors are different. So if you have ovarian cancer or fallopian tube cancer, they are usually developing from the salpingo-oophorectal or the fallopian tube and the ovarian region, while peritoneal cancer develops from the peritoneal area with the fallopian tube and the ovarian region being disease free, or they are subsequently involved by the disease process. So the origin is not from that area. However, research has shown that most of these cancers are or behave very similar to what is the discussion about ovarian cancer. So ovarian cancer, fallopian tube cancer and peritoneal cancer, these though originating for different sites, the treatment strategies and the management are more or less similar. So they are grouped or clubbed into a same gamut of ovarian, fallopian tube and peritoneal cancer. There is one more question. Again, this is this is Mrs. Neha Mehta. She wants to ask, with respect to her further question, how can we come up to know if cancer cells are still there or spread to some other organs? I'll just go back and see what question earlier you had asked. Yeah, okay. Her mom is having breast cancer and she's been treated. Now, yeah. So her question is, that how can we come to know if cancer cells are still there or spread to some other organs. Now there are various methods to do that. If you are a breast cancer patient and you have completed the treatment and the treatment has been a little incomplete because of this COVID situation, and you want to check if the cancer has come back or it has spread to other organs, the test that you can do is one, get an imaging investigation, that is a CT scan or a PET CT scan, and a second is to do something known as CA 15.3. just like CA 125 which is done for ovarian cancer, CA 15.3 is done for breast cancer. So with these two tests you will more or less be able to come to know whether the disease is still active or the disease is dormant, and then with these tests you can approach your oncologist and take their opinion as to how to proceed. At present, continue with the hormonal therapy that you are taking. So any further questions, I think, can be posted on the page, and CARF, that is Cancer Aid Research Foundation, will coordinate with me and we can definitely try to answer all of them. So this is again Dr. Pushpak Chirmade. I am a consultant oncologist practicing in Navi Mumbai and Thane area and some regions of Mumbai, attached to Jupiter Hospital, MGM Hospital, Navi Mumbai, and have my set of Oncura cancer clinics, which are cancer treatment specialization centers. So this was a wonderful session organized by CARF, and there are many more sessions in the pipeline. So the next session probably is on prostate cancer awareness by Dr. Preetam Kataria. He's also a very good friend and a colleague of mine. So be tuned to their Facebook page and their activities. With this, I am Dr. Pushpak Chirmade again signing off. Any questions are really welcome. You can search Dr. Pushpak Chirmade Cancer Specialist as my Facebook page, and you can post any questions there also. So take care, be aware, and be safe.